Elon Musk had just returned from a demanding business trip, eager to reconnect with his young son. But at bedtime, as he tucked him in, X whispered, "I want to live with Maria. Not because I don't love you, but because she listens. And you always leave." The words hit Elon hard, and what he did next would move anyone who heard this story. The private jet touched down on a quiet airstrip outside Austin, just as the sun dipped below the horizon. Elon Musk, eyes fixed on his phone, scrolled through the last of his emails. The glow of the screen lit up his tired face as the aircraft rolled to a stop. The past 3 weeks had been a blur. Intense meetings in Berlin about the new gigafactory, emergency problem-solving at SpaceX after a failed test, and high-stakes negotiations in Tokyo with battery suppliers. By all metrics, the trip had been successful. Yet, as the engines cooled and the cabin darkened, Elon was filled with a familiar, hollow ache, the cost of being away from home. The shift from leading global operations to bonding with his 5-year-old son, X, always felt like stepping into another life, one that operated on a completely different rhythm, one he longed to understand but often struggled to keep up with. A black Tesla waited beside the runway. "Welcome back, sir," the driver greeted, opening the door. "Thanks." "Straight home," Elon replied, sliding into the back seat. "Anything I need to know?" "Nothing urgent. The house is ready." Half an hour later, they passed through the security gate and up the winding driveway. The house lights were on. Either the housekeeper had anticipated his arrival, or Maria, X's nanny, was keeping the boy company. Maria Gonzalez had been part of their lives since X was a baby. Originally hired temporarily when X's mother became increasingly busy, she had become indispensable, gentle, dependable, and intuitively attuned to X's needs. Elon respected her immensely, though sometimes he couldn't help but feel overshadowed. The Xianxis front door opened as he approached. Maria, mid-50s, hair tied back, greeted him with a warm but professional smile. "Good evening, Mr. Musk. Welcome home." "Thank you, Maria. How's X?" "He's doing well. In the playroom. I let him stay up a little later so you could see him." "Appreciate it." Elon dropped his bag. "I'll go now. I've prepared dinner if either of you get hungry." Elon walked through his sleek, modern home towards the soft music drifting from the playroom. At the doorway, he paused. There was X, sitting cross-legged, fully immersed in a robot kit Elon had sent from Japan. His small fingers worked skillfully, dark hair falling into his eyes. Humming softly, Elon's chest tightened. Pride, love, and a pang of disconnection. Had X grown in just 3 weeks? Was that a new expression? A new habit? "Hey, buddy," Elon said gently. X looked up. "Dad," he replied flatly. "Look what I'm making." Elon knelt beside him. "That's the Tokyo robot kit. You figured it out already." "Maria helped me read the instructions, but I built it myself." "That's amazing. It's meant for kids twice your age." X shrugged. "When did you get back?" "Just now. Came straight here to see you." "Oh." His eyes stayed on the robot. "Are you leaving again tomorrow?" The word stung. "No, I'll be home for a while." X didn't look up. "That's what you said last time." Elon sighed silently. "I know, but I mean it this time." "Okay." No anger. Just quiet realism, the kind only children seem to possess. "Want to eat together and test your robot later?" "I already ate. But you can watch me finish it." Not the warm welcome Elon had envisioned. Still, he sat down beside his son, hoping to close the emotional distance. A few minutes later, Maria appeared. "X, it's getting late. Time for bed." Surprisingly, X obeyed without protest. "Okay, I'm almost done anyway." Elon noticed how easily his son listened to Maria. Dinner followed, but X mostly pushed food around his plate, offering short answers. "How's school?" Elon asked. "Fine." "You still like the science center?" "Yeah," Maria said. "You've been reading new books." X's eyes lit up briefly. She's teaching me constellations. We go outside and find them. Orion, Big Dipper, Cassiopeia. That's awesome. I loved astronomy too. Tomorrow, maybe we can use my telescope together? X smiled, then frowned. But you'll probably be busy. I won't be. I promise. X just shrugged again. Later, Elon helped with bedtime, following Maria's routines. Brushing teeth, pajamas laid out, lights dimmed. Want me to read to you? Maria reads 2 stories. I'll read 2. He read both, but X stayed quiet. When it was time to say goodnight, Elon kissed his forehead. Glad to be home with you. Good night, Dad. Something still felt off. As he turned to leave, he paused. Everything okay, buddy? You're quiet tonight. Silence stretched. Then softly, I want to live with Maria. Not because I don't love you, but because she listens, and you always leave. The words landed like a blow. Elon wanted to explain, to defend, to promise again. But something in X's calm, honest tone silenced him. After a moment, he replied gently, I understand. We'll talk more tomorrow. Right now, you need to sleep. Okay, X whispered, curling onto his side. Elon closed the door quietly behind him, then stood in the hallway for several long moments, X's words echoing in his mind. She listens. And you. Always leave. He made his way to his study, mind racing. It was just a phase, he told himself. Children said these things. X was confused after the long separation. Things would normalize after a few days at home. But a more honest part of him recognized the truth in his son's assessment. He did leave, constantly. And when he was home, was he truly present? How many times had he checked emails during their time together, taken calls during meals, cancelled plans when some crisis demanded his attention? The house was quiet as Elon sat alone in his study. Maria had gone to her private quarters in the east wing of the house, where she lived during the work week before returning to her own home on weekends. The staff had completed their evening duties and departed. On impulse, Elon accessed the home's security system on his computer. The interface showed him the status of every door and window, the temperature in each room, and offered access to the camera feeds throughout the property. He rarely checked the interior cameras. They were there primarily for security, not surveillance. But tonight, driven by X's words, he found himself scrolling back through stored footage from the past 3 weeks. Initially, he wasn't sure what he was looking for. But as he began watching clips from X's daily life during his absence, patterns emerged. Maria and X eating breakfast together each morning, Maria asking questions and listening attentively to X's answers. Maria helping with homework, not just supervising, but engaged, offering encouragement. Maria and X in the garden, planting something in small pots. Maria reading bedtime stories, animated, using different voices for characters. But what struck Elon most was a recurring scene he found in the footage from X's bedroom each night. After the bedtime story, after the lights were dimmed, Maria would sit on the edge of X's bed and ask, "What should we tell Dad about today?" And X would share something, a discovery he'd made, a question he had, a worry or a triumph. Maria would listen intently, sometimes asking gentle questions, always taking X's thoughts seriously. "I'll make sure he knows," she would promise. Before kissing X goodnight, Elon checked his messages, his emails. He found no daily updates from Maria beyond the practical information about schedules, health, and basic activities that she sent regularly. Whatever X had shared in those bedtime conversations, Maria had kept private. He scrolled through more footage, fascinated despite his growing discomfort. There was X throwing a tantrum over something. Refusing to put on shoes, it appeared. Maria neither gave in nor lost her temper. She waited out the storm, offered a hug when it passed, and then calmly returned to the shoes. There was X showing Maria a drawing, his face alight with pride. Maria examined it with genuine interest, asking questions about the details, praising specific elements rather than offering generic compliments. There was X crying over a fallen ice cream cone, and Maria acknowledging his disappointment without trying to immediately fix it or dismiss it. At 3 in the morning, Elon finally turned off his computer, his mind crowded with images of his sons. A life happening largely without him, shaped by the daily influence of a woman who seemed to instinctively understand what X needed in each moment. He hadn't hired Maria for this. He'd hired her to ensure X's physical needs were met, his schedule maintained, his environment stable. He hadn't expected this relationship, this bond. Elon barely slept, and when he came down to breakfast the next morning, Maria was already there, helping X with a bowl of cereal. "Good morning, Mr. Musk," she said. "Coffee is ready." "Morning." "Dad," X said, more animated than he'd been the previous night. "Maria says we can finish my robot this morning before school." "That sounds fun," Elon said, pouring himself coffee. "Maybe I could help too." X looked surprised, then pleased. "Really? Don't you have meetings?" "I've cleared my morning," Elon said, which wasn't entirely true. He would have to reschedule several calls, but nothing that couldn't wait. "I'd like to see how that robot works." Maria smiled slightly. "I'll leave you two to it then. X needs to leave for school in 45 minutes. The robot assembly went better than dinner had. X was clearly proud to show his father what he'd learned, explaining the mechanisms with surprising clarity for his age. Elon found himself genuinely impressed by his son's comprehension, not just as a proud father, but as someone who recognized real aptitude. After X left for school with his regular driver, Elon found Maria in the kitchen, preparing what appeared to be meals for later in the day. "Do you have a moment, Maria?" he asked. "Of course, Mr. Musk. Please sit." She wiped her hands on a towel and sat across from him at the kitchen island, her expression attentive but neutral. "X said something to me last night that I can't stop thinking about," Elon began. "He said he wants to live with you because you listen and I always leave." Maria's expression softened with concern. "Children say many things when they're readjusting after a parent has been away. I wouldn't take it too—" "No," Elon interrupted. "I think he meant it, and I think he's right." Maria was silent, waiting. "I watched some of the security footage from while I was gone," Elon continued, then quickly added when he saw her expression. "Not to check up on you, to see what I've been missing." "I see," Maria said carefully. "Every night you ask him what he wants to tell me about his day, but you never sent me those messages." Maria met his gaze directly. "Those weren't messages for me to pass along, Mr. Musk. They were X processing his day, his thoughts about you, private things that belong to him. If he wanted you to know, he would tell you himself when you return. I saw how you were with him," Elon continued. "How you really listen, how you're present even when he's difficult or upset." Maria nodded but didn't speak. "Why didn't you tell me about the depth of what you do with him?" Now Maria looked genuinely confused. "Tell you what exactly?" "That you're not just watching him, you're raising him." The words hurt to say aloud, but Elon forced himself to continue. "You're doing what I should be doing." Understanding dawned in Maria's eyes. "Mr. Musk, I was hired to care for X. That's what I'm doing. I'm not trying to replace you." "But you are," Elon said, with no accusation in his tone. Just honesty. "Not intentionally, but effectively. When he's hurt, or happy, or curious, or scared, he turns to you, not me." "Children need consistency," Maria said gently. "I'm here every day. That's the only difference. It's not just that you're here. It's how you're here." Elon ran a hand through his hair, struggling to articulate what he'd observed in those hours of footage. "You really see him. You're fully present with him in a way that I don't know how to be." Maria was quiet for a moment. Then she sighed softly. "Mr. Musk, may I speak frankly? Please, you are a brilliant man, a visionary. You solve problems no one else can solve. But parenting isn't a problem to be solved. It's a relationship to be built. And relationships take time. Regular, consistent time. Her words stung, but Elon nodded. For her to continue. X doesn't need a perfect father. He needs a present one. He needs to know that even though you will sometimes leave, because of course you must travel for your work, you will always come back. That when you are here, you are really here, not just physically in the room, but mentally and emotionally available to him. Elon thought about how many times he'd been physically present, but mentally absent, checking emails or taking calls during the limited time he had with X. How do I fix this? He asked finally. Maria smiled, a genuine, warm expression that transformed her professional demeanor. You already have begun by recognizing it. The rest is simple, but not easy. Make time for X that is unbreakable, sacred time that doesn't get canceled for anything less than a true emergency. When you're with him, be fully with him. No phones, no distractions. And when you must leave, make proper goodbyes. Help him. Understand when you'll return. Keep your promises about calling and coming back. That's it. That's the foundation. The rest you will learn as you go. Elon nodded slowly. Will you help me? Not by continuing to fill the gap, but by teaching me how to close it myself. Of course, Mr. Musk, that would be my privilege. Over the next weeks, Elon made changes. Not dramatic grand gestures, but small, consistent adjustments that gradually began to shift the dynamics between him and X. He established a morning routine where he personally helped X get ready for school, learning through careful observation how Maria navigated the potential minefields of a 5-year-old's changing moods and preferences. He blocked off time each evening, sacred, unbreakable time, to be with X before bedtime. No phone, no distractions, just focused attention on whatever X wanted to share or do together. He started a notebook where he wrote down things X told him, questions, observations, stories, so he could remember and follow up later, showing his son that his words mattered enough to be remembered. When a trip to the Starbase facility in Texas became unavoidable, Elon prepared X days in advance, marking the exact date of his return on a special calendar they created together. He made video calls at the same time each evening, calls where he gave X his complete attention, not multitasking or allowing interruptions. It wasn't always smooth. There were setbacks, canceled plans when true emergencies arose, moments of distraction, old habits reasserting themselves under pressure. But Elon approached these challenges with the same determination he brought to his most complex technical problems, learning from failures and persistently trying new approaches. Maria remained a constant, supportive presence, but Elon noticed subtle shifts in how she operated. She began to step back when he was home, creating space for him to take the lead with X, while remaining available to offer quiet guidance when needed. 3 months after that night, when X had expressed his preference for living with Maria, Elon sat on the edge of his son's bed for their now established bedtime routine. They had read the usual 2 stories, but tonight X had requested an additional one, a privilege reserved for special occasions according to the routine Maria had established. Why is tonight special? Elon asked as he finished the 3rd book. X looked up at him, his expression serious. Because I wanted to tell you something. I'm listening, Elon said, setting the book aside and giving X his full attention. I don't want to live with Maria anymore, X said. I want to stay with you. Emotion welled unexpectedly in Elon's throat. What changed your mind? X thought for a moment. You don't look at your phone when I'm talking now. And you remember the always things I tell you, and you come back when you say you will. The simplicity of the answer was humbling. These small acts of attentiveness and reliability, so basic that most parents would take them for granted, had been transformative for his relationship with his son. I'm glad, Elon said. I like having you live with me. X nodded seriously. Maria can still stay too. She makes better pancakes than you. Elon laughed. That's definitely true. As he turned out the light and prepared to leave, X's voice came through the darkness once more. Dad? Yes, buddy? I missed you before, even when you were here. The honesty hit Elon with the same force as X's original declaration had, but this time with a bittersweet recognition of what had been lost before and what was now being found. "I missed you too," he answered, even though I didn't realize it at the time. The next day, Elon asked Maria to join him in his study after X had left for school. "X told me last night that he no longer wants to live with you," he said. "He wants to stay with me." Maria smiled broadly. "That's wonderful news, Mr. Musk." "It's because of you," Elon continued. "Not just because you cared for him so well all this time, but because you helped me learn how to be the father he needs." "You did the work," Maria said simply. "I just showed you where to begin." "I'd like to talk about your role going forward," Elon said. "X still needs you. We both do, but I was thinking we might adjust things." Maria nodded, attentive. "I'd like your help to keep growing as a parent, almost like a coach. While still being the steady caregiver, X depends on when I'm not around." "I'd be honored," Maria replied. "May I offer a suggestion?" "Please." "Don't try to replicate what X and I share. He has space in his heart for both of us, each in our own way. Kids need a community, as the saying goes. Your goal isn't to be everything to him, but to forge your own unique, irreplaceable bond." Elon nodded thoughtfully. "That's fair. I'm not competing with you. I just want to matter to him, despite my packed schedule." "You already do," Maria reassured. "You're his father. No one else can fill that role." That evening, X burst through the door, racing to Elon with excitement, no longer the cautious child of months past. He hugged Elon's legs tightly. "Dad, we learned about Mars today. I told everyone you're going to build a city there." Elon scooped X up, a wave of quiet joy washing over him from such a simple act. "Oh, really? What did your teacher say?" "She said it's complicated and might not happen. But I told her, my dad does complicated stuff all the time." From the doorway, Maria watched with a subtle, approving smile before slipping away, leaving them to their moment. "Your teacher's right. It's complicated," Elon said, carrying X to the kitchen. "But you're right, too. Complicated things can be worth doing, even if others doubt they're possible. Like being a great dad, even when you're super busy," X asked with a child's blunt honesty. Elon chuckled, caught off guard. "Exactly. It might be the toughest, most important thing I'll ever do." X nodded solemnly. "You're doing better." "Thanks," Elon said, setting X on the counter. "That means the world to me." As he prepared a snack, listening to X's lively recap of his day, Elon thought about his ventures. Electric cars, rockets, tunnels, neural interfaces. None carried the weight or promise of this. Building a connection with his son. One present, moment at a time. The greatest breakthrough in Elon's life wasn't a rocket or a car. It was realizing that showing up for someone you love is the most vital work anyone can do.